Jacoby Walter got a strap.
Playing with 4 personals here, has to be careful. Walter looking for some deadly.
So we're continuing our draft coverage today, talking about Jacoby Walter, a guy that's kind of fallen down the ranks a little bit in the last couple months, where he was once looked at as like a consensus for a top 10 pick. Now he's anywhere between like 12 and 19. I saw Yahoo has him at number 12, Bleacher Report at number 16, Draft.net. It doesn't look like y'all are subscribed yet, so hit the button for me because it really helps me out a lot. Right in the middle of the range we could see him at. Now, he is 19 years old, so he's a younger prospect. He measured in officially at the combine at 6'4", but this is the part that kind of excites me. He had a 6'10" wingspan, so plus 6 inches on the wingspan is crazy because there's obviously a lot of defensive potential upside there that I think makes him a really exciting prospect. He also came in at just about 200 pounds. Now, I will say he has a lot of potential, and that excites me, but I'm not a huge fan just based off the numbers and the research that I've seen. At his 1 year at Baylor, he averaged 14.5 points a game with less than 1.5 assists and only 4.4 rebounds. But here's the part that kind of does concern me. It's the efficiency. From the field, he shot 37% from the field. And from the three-point line, he shot 34%. So as a guy that's pretty much known as a shooter, I've seen comparisons to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Reggie Bullock, Chris Middleton. Those are kind of 3 pretty different guys. I get that. But obviously, all 3 of those guys could shoot very well. That's kind of where Jacoby Walter is going to make his money. But the numbers don't really reflect as good as a shooter as he's portrayed to be. Earlier in the season, he was a great three-point shooter. But if you look at the second half of his college season, I went from January 27th to March 24th, so kind of the last few months there, he only shot 33% from the field and 32% from 3. That's on 7 attempts. Those numbers are not that good. And truthfully, he really hasn't shown enough in college for me to be clamoring to take him at number 15 if I was the Miami Heat. But in theory, I think it would be a nice pick because he is a guy that was a pretty great movement shooter when he was hitting his shots, or really at least taking shots. There was a high variety in those attempts. It was flying off screens. It was, cutting baseline, spotting up in the corner. It was catch and shoot at the top of the 3, the left and the right wing. There was just a lot of variability there that I do think makes him an interesting prospect as far as a shooter, because we see them with the way that the Miami Heat use Duncan Robinson. They are very creative in their sets, and I think they could also do something similar with Jacoby Walter and his skill set, because he kind of is a similar player to Duncan Robinson as well. 90% of his threes were assisted, so he's really not that much of a self-creator. And he is decent attacking on closeouts. That's also, improvement we've seen in Duncan Robinson over the last year or so. And that's very important for a shooter because you don't want a guy to just freeze up when they have the defense flying out on them. So it is a nice skill for such a young player to have, that if Walter does get hot shooting threes, the defense starts closing out hard, he is able to drive into the paint where he can finish and also do a little bit of playmaking there as well. So those are some pretty positives for him. And he has, when he does get to the rim, he has a 71% conversion rate. So it's decent, right? But again, it's on very, very low volume. Not a big percentage of his shots come from the rim at all. I do like, though, that he can get to the free throw line. So that's, a bit of an opposite, of what I was saying before, because although he doesn't get to the rim a lot, when he does get there, he is well at using his body to sort of get to the free throw line, where he had 5 attempts a game in college and did shoot those at 79%. So that is a pretty decent number there. But that's kind of where the offensive abilities end as of right now. Defensively, you really wish he was a better defender than what he's shown. Because he does have that 6'10" wingspan, you think he'd be getting a lot more blocks and steals. And he did average a steal a game in college, but he's just not as elite on that end as you would hope. At least not right now, because he gets beaten off the dribble a lot at times. He's not super switchable, and he just doesn't have that fast of a first step. And those are all things that I don't want to nitpick on, because at 19, he certainly could get a lot better. That's why I said there's a lot of defensive potential. But personally, for me at number 15, he's too much of a raw prospect for me to want to take a chance on right now. Because, of course, if you're the Heat, you're trying to win a championship next season. And I don't think Jacoby Walter would have a big role in that. He's not a great facilitator. He's very reliant on screens. Reminds me of Tyler Hero. Not to throw shade at Tyler. I feel like I've been doing that a lot here. But he's just not great at a lot of things right now. He's more of just an upside pick. Now, the Heat were trying to make a trade, you know, if they think maybe they can get Donovan Mitchell or Lauri Markkanen or Trae Young, I think a guy like Jacoby Walter might have higher trade value than Tyler Kolek, for example, who's 23 years old, stereotypical point guard. But I don't know if you can make a draft pick, you know, with the thought of how high is his trade value, unless they already got talks with another team in Atlanta saying, hey, we'd want Jacoby Walter. Go ahead and take him for us, and then we'll make a trade, you know, once that pick becomes available, which those sort of things do happen, of course, all the time, obviously, because the Heat can't officially make a trade with this pick until they draft it. So that would have to be a prior conversation. But that's really the only case where I would really be excited about Jacoby Walter, I think. Even though in high school, I read he was more of a 3-level scorer. Didn't really show that at Baylor. But again, guys have different roles. So that's something that the Heat would have to determine in their workouts, whether he could be a better player than he is right now. I just don't see it a lot. I know a lot of Heat fans do like him because of his shooting ability. But there's a lot better prospects out there. Like I can't justify taking him over even Isaiah Collier, who gets to the rim at will. Same with even Ron Holland, I guess, who can also get to the rim at will. Or even a guy like Jared McCain, who's already an elite 3-point shooter. There's just a lot of better prospects out there. So I'm not super high on Jacoby Walter. But I am curious what you guys think. So make sure to let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. I'll be reading all y'all comments. And make sure to like the video and subscribe, because I'm on the grind to hit 5K subs. Y'all already know the deal. By the start of next season. So I do appreciate all the support a ton. I'm recording a bunch of these draft videos in one night. So I don't know when this will be uploaded. But I have a ton of, you know, draft coverage out. Make sure y'all check it out. I believe I already dropped my top 5 list of guys that I would like the Heat to draft. So you can check that out for my official rankings. And I'll see y'all with the next one. Peace out.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.